Welcome to the Today Show. I'm your host, Jay Stoy, and you're in for an exciting update. It's happy Saturday. We're really excited here, Burlington studio. Speaking of Burlington, we have the Sound of Music this week, and right out front in Spencer's Park, we're going to be down there. We're filming, we're doing some media. It's all about showcasing independent bands. Right now, we're live on our Facebook page. You're watching our flagship show, the Today Show. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to bring in some updates. I'm going to and maybe even bring in my producer, talk a little bit of music, but we're going to be all over the map today. So I really thank you for tuning in. Make sure you do check out Sound of Music. Last night we were down there for legendary Canadian musician David Wilcox. He still puts on a great show. I think he's about 75 years old. And wow, did he rock the crowd. You can really tell the difference. We were down there yesterday from about 2 o'clock. Well, we've been down there all weekend from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, tomorrow. We've been filming. We've been showcasing the independent artists, having a good time. But David Wilcox, wow. Like I saw David Wilcox 30 years ago, all the time in Scarborough. We used to go to the local taverns or pubs, and who's playing? David Wilcox. He was in his 40s. Which back then, we thought was aging because we were in our late teens and early 20s maybe. But last night, I got to hand it to the guy, 75 years old and still rocking the crowd. It was sold out too. Big crowd here at Spencer's Park in Burlington. So I got to hand it to the mayor, Marion Mead, all the MPPs and MPs. And Burlington's a wonderful, wonderful place. We're going to talk so much about it within this show today. So again, you're watching the flagship. I think what we're going to do in the second half hours, we're going to bring on the CEO from Big Records, Mark Rosner. He has some exciting information to share regarding his artists, what's going on this summer. I know they're involved in some tours. A great landing platform for independent artists. Check them out, Big Records. They're all over our Facebook and website, but you can just go right to there. They're a wonderful company. They helped us actually with the Invictus Games back in February. So they're out on the West Coast, beautiful province, British Columbia. Wow, got to hand it to that province. I love the province. So why don't we do this? Why don't we talk a little bit of updates, what's going on with the Disability Channel, how you can get involved, how you can volunteer, how you can support. So first, let's talk about the Disability Channel and Wellbeing's one-pager. So I got to hand it to Peggy and her team out here on Plains Road. Wellbeing's focused on helping people with pain, with addiction, and mental health. So the Disability Channel and Wellbeing will be working together now as we're going to be creating a program for get healthy and get working. So you're going to be able to see that document on our website. If you want more information, we can send it to you. Just email me, JAY, at thedisabilitychannel.ca. It's all about giving purpose, giving opportunities in the media industry for persons with disabilities, veterans, and able-bodied people. So come on to our studio, either in person or online, meet some new people, network, get a new skill in media, either in front of the camera like myself or behind the camera like our producer. So again, we're very excited. We're going to see all types of new information regarding well-being. We're recruiting right now 8 veterans we're recruiting. So if you're listening and you know a veteran or a cadet or anybody like that who's served, who's in the military, we would love to help you transition from the battlefield and transition into the media industry and get a job. And then we pay you. There you go. So again, you're looking for more information on our document, Get Healthy and Get Working, JAY, at thedisabilitychannel.ca. Perfect. Let's move it along here right now. We had a really big weekend last weekend in Toronto. We had our June 7th telethon. Wow, what a day. What a day from 12 noon to 8 p.m. I was the MC, Master of Ceremonies. I want to thank everybody in the United States, from Fana to Project Die Hard to Kurt and Sue to Jesse to all the musicians. It was a wonderful fundraiser. wonderful telethon. We got some really great hits, really good responses that are going to lead us into the future. So I want to thank Canada for tuning in. I want to thank our live audience. The live audience was where it was really at. Our studio was packed. We had over 25 people, maybe even more, performers, veterans, production people, supporters, fans. We gave some items away. Everybody had a really good time. It's, again, all about showcasing our veterans. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors. I want to thank Creative Ironworks. Thanks, Dave, for that generous and like crazy great sculpture. Teardrop Memorial. Wow. Again, we still have it. We didn't auction it off, but we're going to do it. It's valued at $100,000, and we started the bid at 30. All the proceeds go towards our employment programs. Again, I want to thank Wellbeings for donating the week-long trip to Bahamas, which is still available, right? Atlantis, very, very high-end location down in the Bahamas. We have a week condo that's valued at $10,000. That's we're listing right now at $1,800. So if people are interested either in this sculpture that would help veterans, and there's actually a 100-foot sculpture down in New Jersey. So this is a replica. And talking about Dave, I think we're going to do little replicas, so you can buy them too. All about to support veterans. Very nice. I also want to thank Scotty and Wood Creations for donating charcuterie boards at our fundraisers. Amazing, which Dave also, Creative Ironworks, also donated. Of course, I want to thank Long and McQuaid. They donated, I believe, 5 guitars, maybe 6. And we got the lead singer from Teenage Head, Dave Rave, to sign them. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Sophie. Sophie, I really appreciate you guys supporting us. So we're going to be doing it again. Watch for our next tour, courtesy sponsor Lightning in the Bottle Entertainment, and Laura Gagnon. I'm gonna butcher her name. Gagnon. There you go. Laura Gagnon. There you go. Like winner, right? So Laura's going to be on tour. The Disability Channel is going to be supporting her. We're very excited about this. I hope I get her name right. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, Laura. But yeah, it's really exciting. So we're going to be hitting, we already did, she was the star performer for our telethon, and she brought her keyboard, and she was our Paul Schaefer for the day. So she performed all day long, which was very exciting. And now she's got 6 gigs. Well, she's got gigs all the time, but she's got 6 gigs booked for August out in the London area. So the Disability Channel is going to be going on tour again. We're going to be supporting, we'll be emceeing, we'll be doing some giveaways. We might have some fancy opportunities regarding the audience, raising some funds, maybe some live auction. Of course, the entertainment. It's all about the entertainment. So Laura Gagnon, of course, she's going to be all over London. Want to give a big thank to her supporters. Very exciting. Very exciting. Wow, there's so much to talk about. Why don't we take a quick break? And when I come back, I'm going to continue because we have lots to share. And then later in the hour, we're going to be bringing on Mark Rosner. So from Big Records, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Wild Child Records. Welcome back to the Today Show. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. What we're doing today is we're just giving a few updates on what is going on in Toronto, in Ontario, Canada, the USA, our programs, our media platforms. Let's get right back into. I want to give a big shout out to Burlington's MPP, Natalie Pierre. We had a great meeting last week regarding our well-being and TDC Get Healthy and Get Working one pager. We also talked about our next program that we're going to be submitting to the Ontario government, where we can help veterans, persons with disabilities, and able-bodied people. And if you can notice, there's a lot of music stuff behind me. So I'm also a music guy, and we do a lot of live events, gigs, concerts, promotions, all to raise funds and awareness for our programs, the most vulnerable and our heroes. And we have some big things coming. If you see it in the bottom, well, it'd be my bottom right-hand corner, Flanagan's. Oh, Flanagan's right there. There's going to be some big news coming down the pipe for there. And it's all about creating more job opportunities for our graduates. We're really excited. I want to give a big shout out to Counselor Matt Luloff. We look forward to meeting Matt next week. Matt's a counselor and also a veteran. So Matt's going to be helping us with helping his fellow veterans. I'm not a veteran. I'm just a veteran supporter, right? So we're going to be doing that. Want to give a big shout out to MP Karina Gould. Karina, we're going to be talking. I know we talked to your team last week again, all about helping veterans, the VA. So we're very excited. We're building our team. Got to give a big shout out to Tom Kaz and the people down in the USA. Watch out. If you go onto our Facebook page, which is blowing up right now, by the way, if you go on there, you will see Tom Kaz is going to be interviewing one of the most popular U.S. generals of all time, General Michael Flynn, on June 21st down in, I believe in Florida, so down south. Now, Mr. Flynn is so popular that we've had to reschedule it. I think this is the 4th time. So hopefully this time will take hold. Tom is also a U.S. veteran, he's an Air Force veteran. So we're really excited. I want to give a big shout out to Richie. Thank you, Richie, for setting that up from Sweet and Ballroom Blitz. You're going to see more of that music very soon. Let's give a big shout out to 89.7. Thanks, guys. Wonderful show. Thank you for inviting me to be the co-host. We had a great show last Friday. We had on Dave Stevens from ESPN, a 7-time Emmy Award winner. And we had legendary music producer Mark Berry. This guy's worked from everybody from the Beatles to Billy Idol to Burton Cummings. Just name the artist, and he's had his fingers in either producing. He's a worldwide producer. So thanks, guys, for coming on. Speaking of that, why don't we take a? I'm going to bring somebody else just to get his feeling on. There's so many deaths now in the music industry. Like I'm a little bit older, right? So growing up in the 70s and 80s, all those guys now are dying. It's so sad. You knew the day was going to come, but it's like they've been such a staple in my life and people who love music in the 70s and 80s, 60s. So let's bring in our producer, Jay, another Jay. And Jay, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the passing of Sly Stone and Brian Wilson. Let's go Sly first.
Hey, AJ, how's it going? Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm a bigger Brian Wilson fan, to be honest, but I do, really love the album Stand. I love the title track off that album, Take You Higher, Ordinary People. It was a great, solid album. I kind of got into, funk and soul and things like that through David Bowie and Young Americans and stuff, but then kind of got me a little more interested in things like Sly and the Family Stone and stuff like that. But so I'm a casual fan, but I understand their importance to music and the influence on music. And like you were saying, it's just sad to see so many important figures just kind of.
It is, and Sly was like Sly. I'm not going to say he was the godfather of funk, but he was like the godfather of funk. Like everybody that's come after him, they've like the R&B and rap and rock and roll. Like he kind of he was so, I don't know, just so rich with the vibe and the rhythm and the way he sort of shared the platform with the rest of the band. Like you didn't even know who Sly was. Where's Sly? Like it was such a great family, like the song, right? A family affair, right? Like it just
it reminds me of the bands like Parliament Funkadelic, or George Clinton was probably kind of the driving force in that band, but you probably didn't know who he was half the time because it was such a diverse group. And
George Clinton with the hair, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, George, like classic, like legendary. It was so great. And then let's flip over to Brian Wilson, maybe the #1 music genius of all time, or pretty close.
Yeah. He was just so, whether you like the Beach Boys or not, they were just so influential to even genres of music you wouldn't think of. I'm more of a big punk and kind of goth guy, but a lot of their heroes like Bowie and Brian Eno and even the Beatles and things like that were, Pet Sounds was one of the first albums to really kind of use the studio as an instrument and do something more than just singles and things like that, like an actual more kind of
album. And it's still considered it's still considered a top 5 of all time, the album, right? Like the album. But it's so funny because I don't know if this is true, but it could be true. I mean, it's all personal opinion, but I liked with I think I can't remember who it was now. It might have been Elton John, because Elton John said that Brian Wilson was his influence, and then he said, cheers to America's number one band, the Beach Boys.
Yeah, I mean, I think they influenced everyone, even if it wasn't directly, right? Like someone that a famous artist might have liked back in the day was probably influenced by the Beach Boys, and like any kind of music with like elaborate vocal harmonies or anything like that.
Why don't we do this? You know what? Let's stay on this topic. Let's take a quick break, and if we can bring in the producer Mark Rosner from Big Records, because I'm sure he's watching and listening, and because he's a music guy through and through, I would love to get his opinion. So maybe if we can get him on the line, take a quick commercial break, and bring Mark in. I'd love to talk. There's other artists too, like talk about that have passed away recently. I'm a music guy. I love music. Jay, I know you have your own band. So yeah, let's take a quick break, and we'll bring in Mark.
Sure, sounds good.
Welcome back to today's show. Hey, Mark, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you jumping online. I know it was short notice, so thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
We were just talking about, obviously, the music industry and the passing of Sly Stone and Brian Wilson. So it'd be wonderful to get your opinion on two musical icons.
Wow. Well, I'm 58 years old. Growing up, all of my musical heroes, Prince and Michael Jackson and on down the line, we're losing them all. And the thing I think of, and even, me personally, my favorite band is Toto, and Jeff Porcaro, to me, the best, pop drummer ever. Right. And a lot of drummers will agree.
Yeah.
Not so much heralded people as well. And it's bizarre, isn't it? Whitney Houston, gone, all of these people. And what's really interesting for me is about 8 months ago, I got approached by Skylar Jett, who is the singer who replaced Lionel Richie in the Commodores. And he said, look, we're looking to do a tour with Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh.
And would you talk to his sister?
Oh.
And part of the family. And I talked to her about 8 months ago. And, little did we know at that moment that, and it's not to get too deep or anything, but it really does, to me, say, take today, make it the best day that you can. And what are we worried about in the future? When it comes right down to it, I'm not sure if I got the quote right, but worry is kind of an interest you pay to something that may or may not happen. So these are the things I think about: is enjoy today. I think we've all. I saw a clip with even Sting the other day. He weighed in and he sang that song that Brian Wilson wrote, God Only Knows.
Oh, wow.
That's one of my favorites.
And it was just amazing to see, when you have the icons say who their icon is. That's Brian Wilson.
Well, that's what Elton John said, right? Elton John said, Brian Wilson is my mentor. He's the one that influenced me throughout my whole life. Like, I read articles about, Paul McCartney. He said, he when he said his, passing goodbye, he quoted the song that you just mentioned, Mark. Like, that's what he said, right? Like, it's just, so let's talk a little bit about Brian Wilson and his influence. And of course, his crazy time with his brother and Charlie Manson and all that kind of stuff. So what are your thoughts on like Brian and what he did for the industry, Mark?
Brian was a genius. And the word genius is passed around a lot. And it's certainly not just well-known people that there are geniuses. There's a lot of geniuses in everyday jobs helping to make everything happen that don't get the adoration. But Brian Wilson, he had his struggles with mental illness. And I can't remember the details exactly, but didn't he spend a lot of time? Like it was one point in his life where he was just in bed all the time. He just
Well, I
couldn't
think
get
his
out of bed.
doctor, I think his doc now, so, you know, there's so much news out there, but I think his doctor kind of took his life over and didn't have the best
His doctor,
intentions,
like,
right, Jay?
his doctor even got him to sign over a lot
Yeah.
of the royalties for the songs he wrote, and like took producer's credit on like albums that he put out during that period too. Like he took over every
What a
aspect
shady
of his
business,
life.
right? What a
It was
shady
insane.
business.
You
And
hear a lot of that stuff. I mean, from Mike Tyson with all the money, and then somebody stole it from him, you know, and Michael Jackson, even the sort of his death was kind of like the doctor was kind of in there, you know. And people who are such icons, they have to be so careful that the wrong people don't come in and get involved with them.
well, I find with like super creative people like Michael Jackson and Brian Wilson and Prince, and they have such a kind heart. Like they're not they're so focused on creativity that it takes their whole 100%, you know, focus, brain power, that they're just nothing else matters to them. And when you're a creative person, I don't know, I guess you're positive, and I guess being positive can turn into kindness. I guess it can turn the other way
Well,
too.
just
Right?
by nature, creative people are not. Their brain isn't really locked into, most of them anyway, isn't locked into money, administrative things, you know, those types of
Business
things.
aspect
So,
of things.
yeah, so they have to bring it. They can't do it themselves a lot of times. So they need to bring in people that they can trust around them. And you know, it's really simple. If you were raised, you know, my parents taught me, you know, be careful who you surround yourself with, because that will good people bring
You know,
good people generally.
Famously, Elvis's manager
Oh.
took advantage of him. The Beatles manager ripped them off. Bowie's manager
The
was
Stones,
ripping him off in the early days
manager was
too.
ripping them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
Mark, tell us what's going on at Big Records. You guys got so, I know we could be here for 3 days, but give us an overview. What's going on at Big Records now?
It's really an interesting segue, because what we're talking about is as you grow as an artist, you don't want to give away your branding, your music, anything about you. You don't want that to fall into other hands. And so this has been the problem with management and labels, is they always want to take over. They always want to give us everything, and that's how we're going to get paid, and we'll make sure you know get where you want to go. That's the heart of what I did 15 years ago when I started in my musical business journey. Is I wanted to take that power away from the top end. I wanted to just create a business that was about supporting, uplifting, creating a movement for artists, which gives them the power back. And so I developed that business model, and I floundered for a while, you know, trying to, you know, figure out who I was and how the business is. At the same time, the business was all changing from analog to digital, and the internet was now, you know, big. And isn't it funny if you look back, Jay, to the 90s and stuff, you know, none of us had cell phones as kids. In 80s, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have the internet. You know, it's like, so all of these changes, I wanted to create something that the artists and the people involved had the control. And so no more is it like, you know, I'm going to make you a star, you know, like that kind of talk. No. It's more about how can I tangibly support artists in the things they need, and build leverage and communication, sort of connecting the arts with the corporate world and pulling that all together. And that's the journey that we're on with Big Records, and we're doing it. And I would say in the last 5 years, the whole plan has begun to come together to a point where if we were to have this conversation next week, I'd have a bunch more good things to share, because we're just attaching ourselves to so many good people and then passing on those connections to the artists. And so without being too specific, there's so many. You're right, I can't talk about all the things we're doing, but that's the general idea. And there's lots happening all around the world. Every continent we're involved in.
Well, I have to say, you know, like your platform really, really goes out of its way to help independent artists. And I can attest to that, because I could just name off 12 artists that I've worked with through Big Records that have just said nothing but great things. And it's a family. Like, you guys are working together to try to get to the next level, and everybody supports each other. And I like it too, because it doesn't matter what type of genre. Like, if you're country, you're rock, you're hip hop, you're rap, you're, opera, it doesn't matter. So I really commend your platform, Mark, and what you do for your independent artists, because you know what? In today's social media, if you're not doing a good job, well, you're going to hear about it, right?
Yeah.
So
no, people are brutal. It's like kids on the playground when you're in elementary school. They're brutal out there, and I have my opinions. I like to, I don't like to think that I'm going to be censored for what I think. So I want to put it out there, but I also want to be aware too that everyone on the other end of a post or something is a human.
That's right.
And so we're all flawed. We're all allowed our opinions, and we all need to have respect. And let me just throw something back at you, Jay. In the time I've known you a long time, in the time that I've known you, just you care about helping not only artists but the world, veterans, all those things. The Disability Channel is amazing. The things that you're doing. This is why I really jumped on board and wanted to work with you again when I met you and stuff. Finally, we found a way that we could work together, and it's been just fantastic. And congratulations on all your success.
Oh, thanks, Mark. Well, let me just share something, and you do it too. Is when you help people, it's amazing. If you can help somebody without them asking you or paying you, or if you can just help. I mean, getting paid is nice too, but helping people is the payoff, because they turn back and they go, "Oh my God, like that's great! Like this is great!" And they smile, and that's what it's all about, right?
It's the heart of. It's the heart of being, having a legacy, having something that you're bringing back to the world. But switching gears, it's also good business.
Yeah.
People say, how do you get a sponsor? Well, you don't go to them and ask what you can get from them. Okay.
That's right.
You go to them and ask them how you can help them. How do you get a nonprofit on board? How do you do those things? And this is one of the things that's really hard for musicians to understand when they jump in and start. There's a lot of gigging musicians, per se. They work on the weekends, they make their money, and they go. That has a certain thing. That's not original music. Okay, that's a gig. And original music is about creating friendships, partnerships, connections, and they have to like you. And if you go to your people on Facebook, for instance, and hey, have you heard my new single? Have you heard my new single? Have you heard they're going to shut you off at some point, right? There's got to be something else there for them. So the greatest successes I've seen in independent music are those that attach nonprofits and sponsors and other things to contribute back to, and that's what interests
veterans. There you go.
I'm a huge supporter of the veterans now, and it's
of course.
And I'm not from the Army, but I am a big fan of. That's a great thing to latch onto, is to helping the veterans, because they do so many selfless things, and they give their lives, and what a interesting sort of sad world we're in right now with these wars and everything. And
I think there's some type of parade today, actually. I heard.
Yeah, there might be.
I heard.
I heard. You never know what you hear these days, but the truth is that whatever's important to you, whether it's I have a lot of different interests. I love animals, and I love to help support them and endangered species, and on down the line. There's so many causes, but you don't have to change the world. You have to change your world.
That's
so
right.
Find one. Yeah.
So, Mark, if people want to find out more information, if they want to join your platform, where could they go? Can you give it the website, or where could they connect with you?
Well, you can see some of what we do on our website, bigrecords.world. You can see some of that up there. Of course, we work with indies. We also work with Live Nation and other artists that are not on our website, like Rick Springfield and Boz Scaggs, and these type are my partners on tour with Warren G coming up, who's big Snoop Dogg, that whole group, that kind of thing. We have some bosses and that. So you can see some of what we do at bigrecords.world. You can also email me at mark@bigrecords.world, and just inquire, and then I'll tell you about what we do, what we can do, what we can't do, that kind of thing.
That's great, Mark. Thanks a lot. I think what we're going to do, we're going to take another quick break. I'm going to come back and wrap the show, and then stay tuned because we have another music performer coming up. We have Johnny Guest. Johnny Guest is going to be our guest pretty soon.
Johnny.
So stay tuned. I'm going to come back and wrap the show. Mark, thanks again for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
You betcha. Take care.
Welcome back to the Today Show. Again, I'm your host, Jay Stoy. And on the show today, we had on the big boss from Big Records, Mark Rosner. We talked about his platform, how he supports independent and mainstream artists. And then we talked a little bit about the passing of legendary music superstars, Brian Wilson and Sly Stone. Still very sad. I know Brian was, sick for a long time, but it's always sad when an icon like that passes away. And I think he's the last one of the brothers. So I think now all the brothers are now gone. I think Mike Love is still alive and Al Jardine. I believe they're still alive. Let me just finish it out with a couple more updates. I want to give a big shout out to the people who work with AC/DC. Thanks, guys. We had a wonderful time meeting last week. I was in one of their studios, one of their affiliate who they work with. Wow, just watched them for some great stuff coming. I mean, who doesn't like AC/DC? I mean, legendary, maybe one of the best, well, definitely one of the best bands of all time. I want to give a big shout out to Stonewalls and Andrea. What a bar in Hamilton. You want live music? Stonewalls is the place to go. We're going to be doing some stuff out there. Plus, I go out there all the time with our band, Freedom Train. So, again, I just want to thank everybody. If you're looking for a new opportunity, you're looking to network, you're looking to meet new people, you're looking to get access, check us out, thedisabilitychannel.ca, or you can email me, jay@thedisabilitychannel.ca. I really thank my producer, Jay, for taking the reins today for the show. And you're watching the Today Show. We'll see you next time.